All right, class is in session. This is going to be a good one. We learn from criminal cases and things like that to how to um, navigate relationships, and how people present themselves, how women present themselves, how you present yourself, how to lead narratives within the popular media, or just narratives that we've kind of, the conditioning that we've kind of been given, which is powerful as men, so we can navigate dating women and have be successful. Now, um, once again, I was with the Houston Police Department. I did 22 years. In that 22 years, I spent some time in the gang unit as a supervisor. And just to give you some credibility, and I work with Drug Enforcement Agency. I work with alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. Um, we've used their resources. We help them in their investigation. We help them in our own investigation. We work with the FBI. We help make FBI arrests. So I work with all levels in huge, um, you know, investigations and small investigations. I've been to the FBI building, been interviewed there regarding, some law enforcement things. So I've seen it. You kind of get you get a good picture of what's going on within law enforcement, and you can kind of spot things of, anybody that's in any industry, whether it be an auto mechanic, whether you be a service worker, you know how things look and sound when they're bullshit, and you know how things look and sound when they're not, right? And this gave me some problems right away. This is John Shipley, former FBI agent, now apparently a lawyer, and he gets caught up selling guns. And I'm going to tell you right now, I think he's a fraud. I think he was selling the guns, and I'd like to be on his side, but the facts don't lead you there. Number one, there's too many coincidences, and just by watching the episode, I was getting that feeling. I watched it twice. By the way, this is no shade on Andy Stumpf. I love that dude. He's awesome. He gives awesome interviews. I highly respect him and his service to our country, and I love his podcast. Still love his podcast. It's awesome. Just watched the one on the Secret Service agent, and this Andy, unfortunately, had to deal with this guy, and that has nothing to do with him. So, and he pushes back on this guy. He lets him off the hook because he doesn't want to create problems. But I think Andy knew deep down inside this guy's full of shit. If you ask Andy, I guarantee if you ask Andy, privately, if you think this guy's full of shit, I think Andy's a good study. He's full of shit. This guy, in my opinion, this is my opinion, not, I'm not a psychologist, but I believe he's like a narcissist, because he's very grandiose, and he tells lies without remorse. He just looks you straight in the face. But anyway, we're going to go over some things. But just to give you an idea, he was convicted on one count of dealing firearms without a license. He was convicted on 4 counts of causing a firearms dealer to maintain false records. And he was convicted on 1 count of making false statements to federal authorities. So they investigated him from January 2005 to 2008. Shipley posted firearms for sale on a internet website more than 200 times, okay, during a 3.5-year period. Let's see. He purchased 54 firearms in a 3.5-year period and sold 51. Huh. Kind of coincidental. And you know what? He lives right next. He's in the field office right next to the border. Another coincidence. And he's buying firearms from a firearms dealer in Missouri. Huh. And he's putting them through the mail. Okay. You don't put firearms through the mail as a private citizen. Okay. He sold. He did in all the transactions he did, he made $118,000. You tell me this guy is an honest guy, just selling, just out there, just a collector, selling my firearms, and he's not shooting any of them. I mean, why are you even buying them? You ain't even looking at them. Plus, he had 2 books. He talks about a book in here called A&D book. He told the government about the first one. During a search warrant, they found the second one, which is much more detailed. Okay. He forfeited 17 firearms, 2 50 caliber Barrett sniper rifles. Barrett sniper rifles are highly coveted, armor piercing. He had incendiary rounds, and they're highly coveted by the Mexican cartel, who he was alleged to have sold them to, or basically part of that. And how he gets caught up is the Mexican military gets into a shootout with a group of guys. They find one of his rifles that he bought there, and a guy died from the Mexican military, and his rifle's there. Now his rifle wasn't shot, but the guy shooting other guns, which may or may not have been his, had his rifle. Huh? Interesting. Now the exact gun you sold him wasn't used, but the guys buying your gun were cartel members, and you can play. I don't know. Well, who sells $118,000 worth of rounds? I mean, of firearms. Who buys who in their right mind? The United States government bought 100. This guy has 2. All of the United States government buys 100. He found the need to get 2. You're only one man. This guy is full crap. He says, and he even brings in Brian Terry in this, the hero. He says he's got false information. He says Brian Terry was shot in the femoral artery. He was not. Go read Blood, Guns, and Money by Ion Agrio. He was shot in the back, severed his spinal cord, and severed a major artery to the heart. That's not your femoral artery. You don't even have the right information, dude. But he gives it like it's facts. Okay? He had 21 rounds of 50 caliber ammunition. Didn't shoot a one in 3 years. Didn't find the time to go use his, coveted rifle there. I mean, he had $7,340 worth of cash. He lied on 444.43 is it but he lied basically buying firearms. He said they're going to be for him, and they weren't. He lied on the forms. Again, this guy is a fraud. He claims Samantha Carrington tried to give him $27.5 million. Do you have an affidavit saying she's going to give you $27.5 after he admits to illegally arresting her? Why would she want to give you $27.5? We're going to go through it. Let's go.
Of this, do you prefer to unpack it sequentially? What's the easiest way? I mean, because there's layers upon layers, obviously. Do you go just through time, from backwards to forwards, or where do you want to enter in?
Yeah, I guess we could start talking about the beginning, how I got to where I was at the point, what happened, what Fast and Furious was, and then how it affected me.
Let's do it. Start work.
Real quick, to go figure out what Fast and Furious was, the book Blood, Guns, and Money tells you it's a great book and gives you a very detailed, which I've read several times, gives you a very detailed view of what Fast and Furious was. He's going to give you the conspiracy theory of what Fast and Furious was, and then you can actually get the facts of what Fast and Furious was. A very botched investigation by law enforcement officers that didn't do their due diligence, that let the program get out of control. They were lazy, they were inept, whatever you want to call it. But the guys, the agents actually working the case, which we have 2 whistleblowers on that, John Dodson and Peter Forcelli, who won a settlement. They admitted to the fact that the individual agents screwed that case up, and it made the United States government look bad. So any cover-up that was trying to go on was the government trying not to make the law enforcement agencies look bad. But it wasn't a conspiracy like this guy says.
Okay. By all means, we're already going anyway. That's how we did it.
Okay.
So go ahead, Mr. Shipley. Tell me how the FBI took great care of you after so many years of service.
Well, so I started in the military like you did. My father was a lieutenant colonel, retired, Vietnam veteran. He's still alive. He's 83 years old. And my dad commissioned.
Real quick, and we're going to hear the narrative given by his hero father. Thank you for your service, Mr. Shipley Sr. But listen to how the narrative, this is going to be a red pill narrative of how men are the butt of the jokes and women are the heroes.
How's he doing with his service? I only ask because my father's almost 80, and I look at their generation of service in man. I don't know if you could have written a polar opposite reception than my era's return to home, however you would describe it, and it is an injustice of injustices.
Absolutely was. When I was in law school, they had a thing called honor flight.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And we would go to the airport and we would make signs and say, "Welcome home." And
Yeah, I don't think he did. I don't think he did, but he always tried the virtue signal. We would go to the airport. Show me some footage where you're at the airport.
it was okay coming off the flight, except the Vietnam veterans. And they were all just bawling their eyes out saying, I wish this was the reception I got when I came back from Vietnam. And it breaks your heart as a soldier to see another soldier just wounded like that and to carry that wound for all these years.
Did your dad talk much about his service with you when you were younger?
No.
Same. And again, this is why I ask. It's not common for me to sit down with people who have parents of that era of service, but the stories are resoundingly the same. They're generally very quiet about their service, if talking about it at all. They oftentimes won't even involve themselves in veterans events because of the reception that they had or experiences shortly after service. And it's a travesty.
Yeah, I belong to a group called Roll Call in Fort Worth. And it's
I'd like to see the records if he actually is. He did everything he says is lies. I'm sorry.
a organization. It's all veterans from every branch that get together. And I said to my dad, it's like, Dad, you need to go to this. And he was like, no, he just won't. I remember when I was growing up, I really enjoyed shooting guns. When I go to my grandma and grandpa's house in Indiana, they let me shoot their BB guns and then eventually 22s, and they worked me up to guns. And my dad used to always say, you can never have a gun in my house. And I'd be like, why, Dad? I mean, you were in the military uses guns. And he said this, son, I've seen enough death in my lifetime. I don't ever want a gun around me again.
Today's episode is brought to you by...
Damn it. What the fuck? Sorry about that. Let's go forward. But he just lied there.
And honestly,
Sorry.
I recommend go vertically integrating, bringing almost...
Let's go back here. He's a big liar right here. His dad, hold on.
Did your dad talk much about his service with you?
So
when
let's
you
go
were
forward.
younger?
But basically,
No.
he's going to say he didn't, his dad did not allow guns into his house ever. You know, I mean, be careful when someone makes, and we don't know for sure or not, but be careful when someone makes always or never statements. And if he's a grown man in the FBI, and, you know, your dad's not going to, what are you, a little kid? Don't bring a gun in my house. Whatever. Anyway.
It's a travesty.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go beyond this. Get back to it. Sorry about that little mess up. Okay, right here.
Trust me, you won't regret it. Back to the show.
So, respectfully, when I graduated the FBI Academy, I took my weapon off, locked it in my trunk, never took it in my father's house because I respect my father.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, okay. Yeah, right.
I'm glad you're still alive.
Yeah, I'm glad we can't verify any of those claims. Boy, this guy locks his stuff in his trunk. You know, he could also say, Dad, you know, respectfully, I'm going to keep it on me because when the crooks that I investigate come through that door or whatever, you're not going to have your gun with you. It's going to be in your trunk. The hell out of here. Can't verify this.
Has he opened up at all, or have you asked him about it anymore as he's maybe approaching the tail end of the lab around the track?
you know, he did something that was really cool. He put together a list of every unit that he served in, where it was, what the dates were. He doesn't talk about his ribbons or his medals or anything like that. I knew that he was in Julau. I knew that he flew Chinooks. I know the company that he was in at that time. I know all that information, but he still really doesn't talk about it. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. That's his thing. So
I'm glad he made that record, though.
yeah.
Did he ask him about it?
Things I've done with my dad is I'll sit him down in the chair.
See? He
And
sits him
trust me,
down.
we get well off the reservation and the rails. Michael can attest to this. He said some things that, like, oh boy, you know this is going on the internet, right? But I've also gotten him to talk about his, you know, the impact of his service on his family. His relationship with his father was strained before that, but what happened afterwards. And because my grandfather kind of separated from our life when I was about 11 years old. So, and I think it was the right decision to do so, but have a better understanding of why, how it impacted his relationship with my mom, because she's passed. I don't have the...
Whenever you talk to somebody, the truth has a ring to it. When Andy talks, there's authentic. He seems very authentic, very truthful. He gives you the good and the bad and the ugly. This guy's there's a lot of virtue signaling. It's just there. It is hard to pinpoint. If I thought about it a little longer, but there's a ring to the truth. And Andy gives that authenticity. And when you talk to people, this is what I want you guys to, you know, see if what they're saying is there's a ring to what they're saying.
To talk with her. So they're good. They're good time capsules. At least have that opportunity. I can go back and watch it again at some point.
And I'm lucky. My mom and dad are still both alive. So, I get my mom's perspective when she was pregnant with me.
And listen to the diametrically opposed viewpoints of men and women, how he portrays it. He gets his mom's perspective. If you are King Daddy and you are loved as a man and that you are respected as a man, your woman, your wife who is still married to you, will be very honorable, will be very kind, loving in the story she tells about you. I'm just saying, and what he portrays here is the opposite. His mom crap talking his dad.
Gets sent to Vietnam, and he's over in Vietnam while she's in Indiana having a baby in a blizzard, and she doesn't know where her husband is, and
To me, so he gets her mom's perspective. This poor little angel in a blizzard, having a baby, and her stupid husband, I'm just saying, is over in Vietnam. Like, first of all, the guy is serving his country. He was ordered to go there, so he has a duty to the country and his family, right? Well, he's honoring the service to his country, and we honor. That's why we honor our soldiers like that, because they make sacrifices. And he had to leave his wife here, who got pregnant. Now, did she just get? Was it just immaculate conception, or was she banging this dude that was going to leave to go to Vietnam without any contraception, and she's letting him blast off up inside? We're gonna gotta be real about life, and she's letting him blast off in the club, left and right, and oh boy, she got pregnant because this dude's busting a nut all up inside her. And now 9 months later, which she knows he's in the military, knows he may have to go serve, she didn't take any precautions, and now she's pregnant because she was fucking and letting a guy blast in her. That's her fault. The fact that she's in this predicament right now, it's her fault. And can we say it's part of the man's fault? Absolutely. We can't just place all the blame on him.
To hear her stories, because her story's about family, his story's about hardship.
Yeah.
And
I think he raised you. I think his story was about family too. Part of him serving in the military was so he could have a family. Part of raising a family is raising an income, having benefits, having insurance for his babies. It's ridiculous the way he portrays his father as the way he portrays his mother.
When he came to Hawaii for R&R, she's like, your dad sat down at the table. We ordered. As soon as the food got there, he ate it as fast as he could, and he said, come on, Jeannie, it's time to go, and wanted to leave. My mom's like, well, I've taken 2 bites. And
What a disrespectful woman there. You have a war hero on rest and relaxation where he's lost buddies. This is his story. I'm just going from his perspective. We have a war hero here that's flying helicopters for the United States military, putting his ass on the line. Okay? He goes for R&R, rest and relaxation, to Hawaii. They go get dinner or whatever, or breakfast. And according to his story, he eats it up and he says, let's go. A woman who really loves her husband and respects him and his service to this country and his sacrifice gets her ass up. I've only taken 2 bites. Too bad, bitch. Get up. This whole, I've only taken 2 bites. Oh, we're not going anywhere. This is why men put up with disrespect. Because of stories like these, a narrative put in the populace that this is okay. I've only taken 2 bites. Sorry, war hero. To the lady that stays at home and raises her kids and gets, what are you doing? It's just, I can't believe we live like this.
it's time to go.
It is time to go.
Because he was in a war zone, and he would eat.
Who cares? He's daddy. You follow what daddy tells you to do.
Says he couldn't. He'd go back and work on the aircraft and fly the aircraft and get things ready for the next mission. So
can you imagine that, going from Vietnam to Hawaii for a couple of weeks?
Yeah.
Even if you worry,
and then dealing with a wife that won't listen to you, won't get her ass up after you ask her to.
Why? You'd be just unwound to the point where you have to go back.
And I remember, before they took R&R, I was born. And so my mom brought all these pictures of his son, his firstborn son, and everything else. And my father said, I don't even want to look at those pictures because that's one more person I'm going to miss. And if I'm up flying or I'm doing something and I'm thinking about that baby, instead of thinking about my mission and how to safeguard my troops, somebody could get killed.
Yeah.
And my mom was hurt by that.
My mom was hurt by that. My mom was hurt by that. Who gives a damn? You brought pictures for your... Okay, I'm just going on his story. You brought pictures of a baby for him to look at. By the way, his baby should be there. He's on R&R, right? And he doesn't want to look at him because his ass is on the line in a helicopter every damn day. And his men are dying. According to him, I'm just going by his story. But, you know, I can see it being true. And so he doesn't want to be consumed by the worry of his son, the picture of his son in his head. So he wants to deal with the mission in front of him, right? So he doesn't die and his men don't die. Doing an honorable thing, a virtuous thing. And all his mom can think about is, he didn't look at the pictures. I have a picture of my baby right here. Now, if that's true, this is why men put up with BS from women. You didn't look at the pictures of the baby. I know you're risking your life, but the baby, she was so hurt. How about, my man's a badass dude. He gets after it. He puts his ass on the line, puts his butt on the line. It's so brave. It's so courageous. And he'll look at these pictures when he gets done with his war fighting. You know, and you could even say, I understood he didn't act right then, but goddamn, he's such a hero. Oh no, we get this story here. Oh, my mommy was hurt by that.
I can understand why she was hurt. I can understand why he said it too.
I did too.
Yeah, indeed. All right, sorry for the detour. Please.
No, you're good.
Please
So
continue.
no, I started in the military. I went through ROTC in college, and then I had the privilege. My dad was a lieutenant colonel at the time, still on active duty. He got to commission me. He got to swear me in, and then he got to pin my butter bars on me. And that
Your dad probably has some pull too on getting you into being a pilot. So why don't you thank him for that? No, we're gonna hear about the stories where he wanted to go and eat too fast and how you're
huge having my dad do that. And then I went to a unit at Fort Meade, Maryland. Was there. I wasn't a rated aviator yet. Hadn't gone to flight school, so they sent me to Fort Rucker. Graduate that. My dad gets to come down and pin my wings on my chest. So just awesome. A blessing. Then I guess in about the second or third year, I got hurt. I got injured. I had a spinal cord injury. And
I don't know, this thing is a little fishy here. Spinal cord injury, doesn't do it full time in service? I don't know.
And so they took me to Walter Reed. I had spinal cord surgery, and they told me, you're done flying. You're done. And they said, you could maybe branch transfer to something else, but you're no longer going to be a pilot. And I was like, well, I've always wanted to be an FBI agent. That was, at 5 years old, if you asked me, John, what are you going to be? I said, I'm going to be an FBI agent. My mother used to say, oh, that's nice, but she never thought. That was my dream job. Above all else.
So his mom tells him, that's nice. Like his mom never thought he was going to be an FBI agent, according to him. Yeah, good telling me, little boy. Here, pat you on the head. Good. I'm glad you want to be an FBI agent. Mom didn't think you were going to be one, I guess.
And so I told my dad, I said, Dad,
Oh, wait, he tells his dad. What does dad do?
I don't fly anymore. I'm going to join the FBI. And he was like, well, you better bump up your resume. So I went.
His dad believes in him. And his dad tells him some things to do to become an FBI agent. This is the difference between men and women. This is what he's not. This is what you have to understand: the value of a man. Yet we haven't. And my mom said, "I don't know. Good way to think that, but I don't think you're going to do it." And Dad said, "Hey, get that resume built up. Hey, do this, do that, do this, and you can get in, son."
Became a volunteer firefighter, volunteer EMT. I started doing things that I thought might punch my ticket to get me to,
Because of the
foot
guidance
in the
of his
FBI.
father.
So in 1995, I applied, and then I was accepted. I entered on duty on 6/23 of 96. And that first date that they swear you in, like, it's either the first or the second day that you're in Quantico. They
Like,
swear.
I'm gonna go forward. He just talks about, we did 4 months of all this blah 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 blah. He went to an academy, became an FBI agent.
Burn your staff to the ground.
It was that knee-jerk reaction of, oh,
Okay, this sounds made up. Listen to this story.
and he goes, it's not funny, son. Get in here. I was like, yes, sir.
It's never too soon. I bet he thinks it's funny now. Yeah, but honestly, on that day, yeah, there was no joking matter for sure.
So then in typical Bureau fashion, our knee-jerk reaction was, okay, all the guys on SWAT will stay and protect the perimeter of the federal building. So they're like, who are our snipers? And Brad and I raised our hands. They're like, okay, you two figure out a schedule, but I want somebody on the roof 24 hours a day with your sniper rifle in case a plane comes in.
I mean, who's gonna say that, dude? The snipers get on the roof, and I don't see it happening. This story sounds made up. Sounds like he wants to, and it's alleged I was a sniper and SWAT. They have a SWAT team. The FBI is one of the best in the world, but like individual, I think they'll have specialized units, but they're not really SWAT. They can do extra training. I don't know. I again, doesn't matter.
Thiis across. I can't remember the exact limitations, but we were allowed to take actions up to a point. I remember it being called hot pursuit. In the U.S., in law enforcement, obviously I was playing with a different set of RORs, sometimes Title 10, sometimes Title 50. And
Talking about shooting in New Mexico.
but for law enforcement, I mean that border right there is the end,
No
right?
go.
Yeah,
Yep.
man. So they could stand there a foot on the other side, just blasting
So
away.
on this particular mission, we had one agent who was drug into Mexico.
Ooh,
And
what happened?
And then it exaggerates the drug into Mexico. She fell off a train on the other side into Mexico. I mean, it's like, whatever.
10.
So here's what happened. She was on the train. A guy jumps into the train. We were told, don't leave the train until you hear the execute order come over from the TOC. She got drug out, and somehow they pulled her into Mexico on the other side of the fence. And the two agents were like, I can't leave her alone.
He tells this very virtuous story. You know, they just jumped out to grab her. I gotta go into Mexico and get her. This guy, his stories are terrible.
And she's bawling her eyes out. And she's like, look, I didn't do anything.
Oh, here we go. I like this
It's
one.
like,
Here we go. This is a good one. This is for his first mess up and lie. Allegedly, Samantha Carrington wants to give him $27.5 million. I just see no affidavit of that. And it sounds like he screws this whole thing up. As a law enforcement officer, he's the one that screws this whole thing up. Let's go.
took the same oath as an agent. I took the same oath as an attorney. And in all three of those things,
See, there
I
you
said
go.
I was supporting.
Be careful when someone talks about oaths, grandiosity, God, higher morality. That's a narcissist. Oh, I took virtue signaling.
Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. So help me God. My oath is not to the FBI, and it's not to the Army. It's to God.
You can still be charged with crimes, though. We can't all operate like this, though. If you swear an oath to your FBI, you need to follow FBI rules or be okay to be sanctioned by the FBI. That's human law, right? But if you're, this is what crooks say. No one can judge me but God. This is virtue signaling. You still have to follow the rules of your agency, or go to jail. And this guy's willing to break those rules in an effort to please his God. And get the hell out of here, dude.
Serious. And so when I would have somebody tell me, you're going to do this, I'd be like, I'm not.
How often would somebody come up?
Could you? And he's talking about supervisors telling him to lie. Never had in my 22 years of law enforcement was I told to lie by a supervisor. Never. That never happens because they can be put in jail for it. This guy he wants to throw the agency under the bus and make it sound bad because they screwed him or whatever. He got his just desserts. But he's trying to crap talk the agency by being passive aggressive. These supervisors telling me to lie and change information. Dude, that does not happen hardly ever. And if they're found out, they're prosecuted to the maximum extent of the law.
Something like that, though.
Not very frequently, but we had a unique thing happen. If a crime happens on an airplane inside the United States, it's automatically FBI jurisdiction because that plane has the capability of crossing state lines.
That makes sense.
So even if it's just in Texas, if it's going from San Antonio to Dallas and somebody commits a crime, because that is an aircraft, it's federal crime, it's FBI jurisdiction. And they're going to get arrested by the FBI and prosecuted by the FBI.
And I can tell you as a law enforcement guy, if they get called out about something like this and it's BS, they're not very happy they're showing up in the middle of the night. Because they work from 8 to 4, and FBI agents do not like to be called out beyond their shift. And this is what happens to him.
Well, so after I came off narcotics, I went to Special Operations Group. SOG is a team of agents, and their job is to be covert, so you don't dress up like an agent.
They wear clothes like he's wearing now, and a lot of what FBI does, some of their cases are dumb. They're like Medicare fraud, guys stealing putting all these claims into insurance and getting wheelchairs and medical up to millions and millions of dollars. So you're going after 50-year-old grandpa, whatever. You're not chasing John Gotti every day, which this guy's gonna make it sound like.
Go to the main office anymore. You go to a remote location, and your job is to conduct surveillance against targets for the FBI, whether it be somebody who's doing money laundering, or it could be a white-collar criminal, it could be a cartel member, it could be a politician, it could be anybody. If there's an open case, they call up SOG and they say, hey, I need to know who this person's meeting with, or hey, they're supposed to take a bribe today and I need you to get pictures of it. That's our job. So I'm working at SOG, and they decided, hey, you're a senior GS-13 at the time. We need to pull you off SOG and bring you to terrorism because we're getting ready to have headquarters come and inspect us. We don't have enough GS-13s on the terrorism squad. And I thought, okay, I've never worked terrorism. If they ask me any questions, I don't even know what to tell them because this isn't my violation. Mm-hmm. And they said, it doesn't matter. Just do this for inspection, then we'll switch you back to SOG. I said, okay.
This sounds like the bureaucracy of the government I know and love.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
now we're back on track with things I understand.
That's true.
Midnight, when we get a call at the border patrol checkpoint, maybe there's a shooting, or at the airport if somebody needs to be arrested, you have to respond out there. And I was like, oh, that sucks. So I have to do my normal work, and then I'm on duty all night.
You see, people do overtime all the time. And plus, I know in the DEA, and I don't know because I was going to be a DEA agent and decided not to after going through their whole process. But they get 25% of their salary. They get in it's called availability pay. So you're going to take the money, but yet when you get called out after hours, trust me, like I told you, he ain't happy he's getting called at midnight. Oh, I got to do my normal work and then go out of here. Go there. Yeah, you do. And allegedly, the story you told, you were the most you had less seniority than anybody at that site. So yeah, you're low on the totem pole. That's you. But I'm sure they have what's called a on-call system to where it's this guy's job this week, this guy's job next week, this guy's.
So I said, okay. This particular night, there was a call from the El Paso International Airport, and they said that a woman had assaulted somebody on a flight. One of the stewardesses got assaulted. So I call my partner, Jim Christensen. I say, Jim, meet me out at the airport. We got to arrest a lady for assaulting a flight crew duty. I said, she's probably drunk. And he's like, I'll meet you there. So
his preconceived notions are already clouding his judgment. Probably, that is all probably true, but you got to drop that once you start getting involved in the investigation. Let's go.
I'm out to the airport. We get there. She's in custody in a cell. There's several people from the flight that need to be interviewed.
Okay, so what you would do here is you're gonna, if I was doing this, you interview her, right? You're gonna get her story, but you need to get someone else's story. You got other people to interview, get their story. Before you take her to jail, you need both sides, right? That's what I would do. All right, let's see what he does.
So the case is assigned to the VCMO squad. It's just a major crime.
He puts a lot of fluff. When he messes up, he's going to put a lot of filibustering and fluff. He's giving us you screwed up. Watch how he screws up.
They also send agents out there. So they all show up, and I'm like, okay, look, this isn't my violation. What do you want me to do? And they're like, go interview Samantha Carrington, the lady, and find out what her story is.
Okay.
I said, roger that. So I go do that.
So he's trying to drop he's going to try to drop responsibility, this VMO squad, allegedly. So you got several different agents, so you got numerous people. You guys should be able to compare stories pretty quickly. Once you do your little interviews, now let's compare stories before you make any arrest. We need to compare the versions of their stories. Because it sounds like you got several people interviewing several different people. Let's make sure we get everybody's story before we put this lady under arrest, because we have two different viewpoints. If we have conflicting viewpoints, we might not be able to arrest her yet because, we might not want to arrest her right now because we have two different sides of this.
I went and talked to her, and she's bawling her eyes out. And she's like, look, I didn't do anything wrong. I was like, and so I got close to her to see if I could smell alcohol. Mm-hmm. I don't smell any alcohol. So I'm like, usually there's alcohol involved. There's
There's
something
a few
going on.
G&Ts, a little sky high G&T action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm talking to her and she says, look, I'm a professor at a college in California. I flew my mother out for cancer treatment, I think in Houston.
Yes.
Is MD Anderson?
It is in
I think
Houston.
I
it
do
is.
not know. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it's right down the street.
Flies her out there to MD Anderson for her cancer treatment. She said, and then I was flying back. I left my mom there. I was flying back so I could teach my class. And then I get arrested. And now I'm here with you, the FBI.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, tell me what happened. And she said, look, she said, I needed to take some medication. So I asked the flight attendant before we took off, excuse me, can I get some water so I take my medicine? And she said, ma'am, we don't serve drinks until we become airborne. So she's like, well, I just need some water to take some medicine. And she's like, well, then you'll have to wait until we're airborne. So she's like, okay. So she curls up in a blanket and she, tries to sleep. They get airborne. They come through, they serve drinks, and they think that she's asleep, so they don't serve her anything. And then she wakes up and says, hey, can I get some water? And it's a different flight attendant. The flight attendant's like, sure. And so she gets the water. And she goes, hey, let me ask you a question. That flight attendant right back there, what's her name? And she's like, why? And she says, because I'm going to write a complaint to Southwest Airlines for the way she treated me. I think that she was rude. And so the other thing you need to know is Miss Carrington is an Iranian. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
She's an American citizen now, but she's of Iranian descent. So the flight attendant says, well, I'll do one better. I'll go get her and you can talk to her directly. And she goes, no, I don't want to talk to her. I just want her name. So she goes back and gets her and comes up and she's like, lady, what's your problem? She told me you want to file a complaint against me. And she's like, look, I just want your name so I can file a complaint. And the lady's like, you know what, lady? You're a freak and I'm going to get you arrested.
Awesome.
So she goes and tells the captain that she's been assaulted. And so he diverts from going to California.
What?
Lands the plane in El Paso. She's immediately taken off the flight by the El Paso PD and put into a cage. And then they start bringing all the passengers off. Well, I just hear her side of the story.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, look, flight attendants don't call somebody a freak. That's the first.
That's whatever. But anyway, so what he's saying here is it doesn't sound like her story's legit. Sounds like there might be it's fishy. Okay?
It's glaring. The second thing is, I just don't believe your story. You're saying you never touched her? She goes, I never touched her. She said, in fact, I never raised my voice. I never used profanity. I was the one saying, please leave me alone. And she said, and got in my face and said, lady, you're a freak.
Okay?
So, and Michael can pull it up. You can Google Samantha Carrington and you'll see
Uh-huh.
Oh, Michael.
she sued she sued Southwest Airlines.
I hope she won.
So
She did.
I received a subpoena to go to her civil trial.
Did you talk to any of the other passengers?
Yes.
What did
I
they?
skipped over that. I
Yeah.
apologize. So that
Yeah, why did he skip over that? Because he doesn't do it till the next morning.
I only heard her story.
Yeah.
So I went out and I said, hey, what do I do now? And they're like, hey, take her, book her into count.
What do I do now? Book her into county? You don't have anyone else's story. You're just going to go home and go to bed and book this lady into county? And you're asking people what... You should already know what to do. Hey, what did you get? What stories do you got? What did your witnesses say?
Finish up the interviews of the flight crew and everyone else. Tomorrow morning, we'll all get together. We'll figure out what the story is and we'll write a criminal complaint. I go, roger that. So,
I mean, you're putting someone in jail. You don't even have a criminal complaint filled out yet. You haven't finished the investigation yet. How do you know someone has committed any crime? You haven't even finished the investigation. And you're already taking someone to jail, you FBI agent? What are you doing? This is ridiculous.
drive her all the way to El Paso County Jail. She's crying the whole way. Mr. Shipley,
That's called a clue. That's called a clue.
please, I did not do anything wrong. I promise you. I've never been arrested before. This is going to be the end of
No criminal history
Here, I'm
on this BS little. We got into a chick fight in an airplane, and you're taking a lady to jail. But this is closer to what street police do, and FBI agents are really crappy at street police work. And This guy's just crappy all around. You're taking a lady to jail, crying, no criminal history, college professor, was in Houston to get her mom treated, and you're taking her to jail, and you haven't finished the investigation. This guy is inept.
Teacher, I can't, and I'm like, I've heard it 1,000 times, I book her in.
So I didn't even listen to her. I heard it 1,000 times. I didn't even listen to her valid story, which in her lawsuit gets found out to be a valid story. But he didn't listen. Nah, we don't listen to people's stories. Nah.
I go home. I get a good night's sleep.
Good night's sleep while she spends the night in jail.
And I get together and I say, okay, who did you interview and what they tell you? And I go around the room.
Supposedly this wasn't your case. Why you asking people what they heard? This should have been done last night, bro. This should have been done before she's getting put in jail.
Named Henry Kamansky, and Henry says, well, I interviewed the white guy that was in the aisle right across from where Miss Carrington was. And I said, okay, did he see anything? Yeah, he saw the whole thing and he heard everything too. I said, okay, what'd he tell you? And he said, well, he told me that Miss Carrington actually asked the lady to leave her alone. So I was like, okay. And that Miss Carrington was not being profane, that she was being quite nice. And this lady was the one who got in her face and said, lady, you're a freak and you're going to jail. And I go, wait a second. What he said? I said, did they have time to talk? No, the flight was diverted. She was taken off to a jail cell. He was brought out here. Mm-hmm. And I'm like,
and you didn't even go interview him at all, and you took a lady to jail. That's crazy.
They have time to get their story straight, and he's saying the same thing she's saying. And now, then one of the questions I asked was this flight attendant had bruising on her arm that was already dark. And I said, wait a second, I used to be an EMT, and a subcutaneous bleed takes a while to get
EMT.
that color. Mm-hmm. It doesn't happen within 30 minutes of the flight.
No, it's a couple days later.
So my assumption was those were previous existing, whether from a domestic dispute or falling down.
Then why is she sitting in jail? Why is she in jail with felon prisoners? If you're hearing all this. And why are you waiting after you got a good night's sleep? This is a G-man FBI agent bucking this all up.
I don't know, but it didn't happen on that flight. And I did not believe that flight attendant. So after all that's over, I went to I went to my supervisor and I said,
so what would a narcissist do? He should take some blame and go, look, I should have gotten the interviews, should have gotten everybody's statement. I should have taken her to jail without all the statements. I felt bad for messing up. No, he's going to concoct this story here.
I got to write this criminal complaint. But there's additional information that I just found out that if I put it in this complaint, I don't think we have probable cause to keep her and she needs to be released. And he said, John, you're not a judge. You don't wear a black robe. You write what I tell you to write, and then you go swear to it. And you let...
Why would his boss do that? Why? Why would his boss do this? He's trying to throw his boss under the bus. I'd like to see what his boss would have to say about this. You go break the law for this BS assault on an airplane that allegedly never happened, that you're telling why would your boss lie? Why would anybody lie? Why would nobody care about this? No, he messed up. He's trying to put it on his boss. Why is she even in jail without a criminal complaint? I know how police do it. We had to charge him before we take him to jail. How did you get this lady in jail without a criminal complaint?
To figure this out.
Oh, nobody wants to hear that.
So I was like, he said,
well, he's lying.
We both served in the military before we came to the FBI. You know how I follow orders? I said, yes, sir. I follow lawful orders. He goes, I'm telling you, you don't want to do anything other than write what I tell you to write and take this over there. He goes, this is after 9/11.
So his boss is putting his career on the line? All right.
She's Iranian. Are you catching this? And I was like, yes, sir. So he's like, go back to your desk, write the criminal complaint, leave out these parts. So I did.
Why would you lie? Now this is on you, buddy, because you could take your boss's job. You could take your boss's job. You just got him in lying.
I took it down to Judge Garney. His name is Norbert Garney. And he was an AUSA before he became a magistrate judge. And I'm sitting outside of his office, and
with a false complaint in your hand. Allegedly.
I just know I'm going to throw up.
I mean, what a wuss. What a wuss. I know I'm going to throw up. This is concoction to explain why I was about to lie.
Looked at his secretary and I said, ma'am, do you have a trash can I can throw up in? And she's like, you're going to throw up? And I said, yeah, I think I am. She's like, yes. And she gives me a trash can. She goes, are you sick? And I said, no, I just, something's wrong. And she's like, do I need to call 911?
Like a little
I'm like,
schoolboy. No, something's wrong. I gotta lie, put an innocent person in jail, and I don't know what to do. You don't know what to do? You rat your boss out. You rat him out. As a law enforcement officer, I never would lie.
She talked to Judge Garner in his chambers, and she's like, yeah, I guess so. She's like, don't throw up in his office. And I was like,
yeah, fake joke.
So I go inside, and when I walk in, he's like, hey, John, because he knew me when I was an agent. He was in AUSA. He's,
unnecessary facts.
are you okay? And I said, no, sir, I'm not. He said, you're really pale, and you're sweating.
Pale, sweating. They know that I'm about to illegally do something.
I said, yes, sir. I said, I have a problem, and I don't know what to do. And he
Hang
said,
on. You have a problem and you don't know what to do. Okay. And anybody out there that knows morality and right things to do, I think a 5-year-old could get this one. Okay. You have information that a lady's innocent, and you need to write swear by a criminal complaint, and you need to do it under oath at the penalty of perjury, and just your upbringing would tell you, tell the truth. That's what you do. You tell the truth, especially as a law enforcement officer, because someone's freedom is the most important thing to them, right? Their life and their freedom. And you're about to take that away with a lie here. It wouldn't be very hard for me to figure out what I'm supposed to do. I need to tell the truth. Tell the truth.
was telling me your problem. I said, okay, sir. I said, I have a supervisor at the FBI, and I have an assistant United States attorney that are telling me to omit things from a criminal complaint.
Wait a minute. He's no, because how would this happen? He's got an assistant U.S. attorney. How would she already know about the case? I don't know. I mean, he's just filing a criminal complaint and indictment. Who knows? But why would they care so much? Why would they be so invested in this?
Because if I put those things in there, it makes her sound innocent. But if I write it this way, it makes her sound guilty. I said, but I know that this is true, so I think it should be in that criminal complaint. So I told him everything. And he said, do you want me to fix this? I said, yes, sir, I do. He goes, okay. And he picks up the phone and he calls the AUSA. And he says, hey, this is Judge Garney. Tell me why Agent Shipley is sitting here in my chambers telling me this lady's innocent, and yet you're authorizing prosecution.
Well, I don't think this, by the way, this is a false story, because if a judge is hearing that, a magistrate, and he's heard that that laws have been broken, and he just goes on, I'm gonna put you on notice. Yeah, I'm telling you, give you a tongue lashing. No, I would start an investigation right there, and people would be being arrested. He would call in the internal affairs, whatever they call it, the general, whatever, professional, whatever. But no, people are going to jail on stuff like this. You don't just get a judge to call over, hey, let me tell you something, you're a bad boy, and this fake ass story.
Now, that prosecutor is the same.
He had to create this whole story, that this prosecutor's going to have a vendetta against him. And that's why when he lied on the forms that when he was buying guns and lying on those forms, she had an axe to grind with him. When he made $118,000 selling 51 of the 54 guns he purchased over a 3-year period, when he has 2 Barrett 50 caliber sniper rifles, which are highly coveted by the Mexican cartels, in his possession, and 2,800 rounds of 50 cal ammo, some armor piercing, some incendiary rounds. He's got to make it look like they got an axe to grind with him, so he created this story.
Computer that started going after me and making it her life's ambition to destroy me because I went against her. I did something, I went above her head to a judge and made her look bad. So the judge writes a writ, says, go get Miss Carrington out of the jail and take her to the airport and get her on a flight. I said, yes, sir. So I walked into the jail. Samantha was there. Her eyes, she looked horrible. She'd been crying.
Yeah, because you took her to jail without all the information. She'd been there all night while you, by your own words, got a good sleep. This poor lady's been in jail. You didn't do a full investigation. You're now there to pick her up because you messed up. And she wouldn't be there if you gotten just one more statement. That's all you needed. But you didn't get it. You went home and went to bed. And put her ass in jail and said, yeah. Everybody says it, heard it 1,000 times. These are your words.
And I felt horrible because I had
You
arrested
should. And you should.
a person. And so I walked in, and she's like, John, please, you have to believe me. I did. I said, hey, Samantha, right now I need you to just be quiet and listen.
He does believe you, and he's getting you out of jail, but he's the reason you are there, ma'am. And you can say, you're my angel. No, he's the devil that put you in here.
You're going home. She's like, what? I said, I went and I talked to the judge. All the charges are dropped. I'm taking you to the airport.
He didn't put in the part where he almost lied on you. I had a criminal complaint in my hand where allegedly my boss, according to his story, told me to lie, and I was just about to do it, Samantha. But because they saw me about the puke, was the only reason I told the truth. That's his story. Lying ass loser.
Right now, you're still a prisoner. So until they get you your clothes back and we're walking out the door, you need to just follow orders from these guards. Mm-hmm. So they had a female guard take her, and they got her dressed and everything. Well, she came out and she said to me, I'll never forget this. She said, John, I gave up on God last night. In that cell, I said, God, why do you forsake me? Because I didn't do this.
Because this guy doesn't do a full investigation before he puts people in jail. Sorry.
I'm going to have a black mark on my record for the rest of my life from the FBI arresting me for something I didn't do.
Well, ma'am, I should have interviewed everybody, and that's my bad. Now you don't say that.
I gave up on him. And she said, you're my angel. You can't.
No, sir. No, ma'am. I'm sorry. No, ma'am. He's your devil.
Save me. And I said, no, I'm just an FBI agent doing my...
I'm just an FBI agent that did half my job last night, and that's why you're here. I'm just an FBI agent doing my job. All virtuous. Lying ass.
I said, this isn't about you, it's about me.
Yeah, and the fact that I don't do all my job at night because I got called out after hours. And we, FBI agents, I'm just messing with y'all, but y'all don't like to get called out after hours. I got called out there, so I'm doing a half-ass investigation. And yeah, I should have gotten that other statement, but I didn't. So I took you to jail. And then, allegedly, my guy tried to get me to lie, and I was just about to get that signature that I needed. But I had to puke. And then I told the truth. Come on, man.
That I took. I'm not going to arrest innocent people.
You did.
I don't need to.
You just did. You just did.
I don't have to create criminals.
You just did.
And I got her out of there, and I took her. Well, then she filed a lawsuit against Southwest Airlines. Enrique Moreno was her attorney. He's passed away now. But now the building...
false... Why do we need to know now the building is named after Enrique Moreno? Don't ask me any other questions probing into my story. I'm going to give you false facts. I'm going to give you extra facts that you don't need to know.
El Paso, the courthouse is the Enrique Moreno building.
So
named
what?
After him.
So fucking what?
Great attorney. Went to Harvard.
Okay, yeah, great attorney, went to Harvard. Why did you not interview everybody?
And very, very nice guy. So he subpoenas me to come to her trial. Now the Bureau's getting mad at me. Now that AUSA is pissed off at me. And they're like, you can't testify. I said...
Why would anybody tell you? Who would care? Who would care? All of a sudden the FBI doesn't want to testify because, I don't know. Why? Why? They don't have skin in the game, bro. But he has to throw his people under the bus.
You want me to not show up when I'm subpoenaed? I'm going to get arrested. So the Bureau comes in and they have the Chiefs Division Counsel look at it and they're like, no, he has to testify.
What do you mean?
He has to.
I mean, I think all of us in law enforcement know what a subpoena is. Oh, we had our chief counsel, we had a big lawyer come in, look at it and go, this is a subpoena and you gotta go. Fuck out of here, dude.
You know, they warned me about, you better be careful what you say.
Better be careful.
Anything that makes the Bureau look bad, we're going to come after you. You're going to lose your job. You know, OPR, Officer Professional Responsibility.
They were that clear with it? And
No, he's lying.
Yes.
No.
They were clear. They were like, look, you better
Liar.
be careful.
Liar.
And I just said, look, I'm going to go and testify
Here we go.
the truth. And I'm going to testify.
Yeah, see, he wants to virtue signal once again. I'm going to do the truth because I'm going to lie later on some federal firearms for him so I can make $118,000 because these two babies that my wife wants to adopt, that I don't want to adopt, it's his own words, are very expensive. And I need $118,000, so I have to sell guns to the cartel in Mexico. I don't mind lying about that, but not this. See, he's virtue signaling.
My FD 302s, the reports that we write in the FBI.
More
I said, "That's
superfluous
all I'm
information.
doing." They're like, you deviate this much, you're going to be in a world of trouble.
Just tell the truth.
So we go to trial. I testify. I leave. I don't think anything about it. Samantha Carrington wins, I think, $27.8 million.
Okay.
Now,
It's
that, I don't know if she
27.5.
27.8. I don't know if
He doesn't know if she got it, so okay. Probably didn't. Probably peeled, and a lot of that goes to lawyers and okay. So he doesn't know if she got it.
settled for less or whatever else.
Bet
Well,
she's
that's just 27.5.
But she's not flying Southwest.
I bet
You know
she's
what I'm
not.
saying?
That's the suit against them.
But
How much she actually got, we don't know.
Samantha Carrington won that money. And what she did was she called me up and she said, John, I don't need this money.
Hang on a second. Why would she have your number? First of all. Secondly, why is she calling you? She doesn't need the money. Everybody needs $27.5 million, I'll tell you right now. This is a bullshit story. And plus, he said he doesn't know how much she got. He doesn't know. He just said how's she offering any money?
And I want to give it to you.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
And I said, I can't accept it. And she's like, why not? And I said, I don't know why I can't.
I don't know why I can't. Because it's not yours. You know? And if you won 27.5, you deserved it. I wouldn't do that as an honor. I don't know why I can't.
It just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, he doesn't know. He didn't have a good answer. He didn't think about it already.
And I don't want to, and I will not accept that money.
Yeah, right. Yet you'll accept $118,000 on false gun sales to the Mexican cartel. Fuck out of here.
And she said, well, what do you want me to do with it? Well, my
Hey,
best
like, what
friend
do you-
Joe
wait,
Valento, that-
No. If he doesn't want it, well then John, like, all of a sudden they're best buds. How long have they been talking? What should I do with my 27 point? Who are you to her? You're the guy who took her to jail by not doing a good investigation, and you're half the reason she's there, having this lawsuit. I mean, this is...
her on the SWAT team had just died of cancer.
Uh-oh, here we go. Died of cancer. This is a sad story, so, you know, it's such a great guy.
Too, when he passed away. Total stud, former Navy guy, loved
Gotta be Navy guy because Andy's there.
son is named Joseph after Joe Del Vento.
More unnecessary facts. That's what they like to do.
Passed away, her mom had passed away, so I said, donate to the Cancer Society. Do something good with it.
Look this guy. Oh my God, this guy right here. I'm not gonna take your 27.5. I'm gonna go ahead and sell stolen weapons to cartels so they kill innocent people. As a law enforcement, I'm gonna use the trust I have that I've got through the badge that the government gave me. I'm gonna shit talk them. I'm going to then lie on government forms, which I know I shouldn't. Mail guns through the postal service, which I know I shouldn't. Yeah.
Well, thank God I went in and I talked to the Chief Division Counsel and I reported that she offered me that money and I didn't accept it. Because that Assistant United States Attorney, the first thing she did was she started a case against me, and I didn't know it, for accepting a bribe of $27.8 million.
What do you mean? So what? Start a case. I didn't accept it. Thank God you told somebody. This is another lie. Let's see this. There should be court records if she started a case. There should be records. Find the records for us. This is lies, dude. Anything you can't verify, he's going to make it sound like a fact.
So,
What was the punishment for that AUSA one? So she was on the receiving end of the call. Is that like
Exactly. Andy knows. What was the punishment? Should have been fired.
chewing? Is
just
it,
an issue.
okay.
That's not true. If she actually did do it.
Professionally embarrassed her. It wasn't as if she was removed from her position.
No,
Okay.
no. That didn't happen until just a couple of years ago. She's been demoted and moved and stuff. She's had some problems because she broke the law in several cases.
Several cases. What evidence do you have?
And we-
People are not going to want to hear.
If I got charged with a crime, went to prison, innocently for 2 years because of this axe to grind lady. Oh, sure, you're getting her name, and you're going to be able to verify all these facts. He's given us nothing other than supposition, speculation.
That the institutions that are supposed to exist to enforce the law are the ones behind the scenes bending and breaking.
They're not, Andy. That's sad. That's sad that he made you think that. That this rogue ass loser who no longer works for them made you think that. That's the problem. By this guy going out there and saying he was railroaded, all this stuff, and throwing everybody under the bus, ruins people's trust in our law enforcement organizations, which is what we need as law enforcement officers. And this guy's out there. He already tarnished the badge once. Now he's out there saying that he was all these people were doing illegal things against him, and now he's tarnishing your trust. This guy's the enemy, not the government. In this case, now they do cause problems in other cases, but not this one.
Well,
These badges are supposed to mean something.
They do, not to the guy across the way from you.
Because that's what my case is about, and you'll see that in just a second. So she came after me for accepting bribes, and after they went through all my finances and they looked at our tax returns and they looked at everything, they're like, yeah, this guy doesn't have any money. Yep.
Yeah, I think they'd see a $27.5 million deposit into a bank. Come on, baby. And this lady who only saw you once should have been on. She should not have your personal number, and it would have had to been several years. She's calling. This story is bunk ass bunk.
His wife makes this amount. He makes this amount. And at this point, I don't know if we had adopted our 2 kids, because we adopted 2 kids at birth, and that was super expensive.
Oh, but, right at the time he's committing these crimes, and he even says that's why he's doing it later on. You'll hear.
So she went after me for accepting a bribe, and once that didn't happen, then she said, "Well, you made false statements at the trial." And so the Office of Inspector General, there was a guy that worked there named Eric Ben.
More information.
He could not investigate his way out of a paper sack. But he was playing good cop, bad cop with me, with his boss from Dallas. They bring me in and they're like, "You're going down for this," and I'm like, "Which one of you is a good cop?" It was a joke. You're an FBI. It'd be like,
come on.
It was crazy. This agent brings me in and he, you did this and you did that, and I was like, "No, I didn't."
This is like a bad sitcom, but usually
Yeah, because he's lying.
Period of time and paid millions of dollars of government funds to follow this agent around until finally they got something on him.
Yeah, he's telling he's telling the stripper story. All right, that's enough for this one. I'll do several of them, but there you go. See you on the next one.